Now I'd like to talk about things that are going to make you more of a distance caster. And the first thing to talk about, I think, is how we use our body. Okay? Now, quite typically, I need a bath, man. Quite typically, you'll see casters doing this. They cast from the top half of the body, just like this. We cast distance, more top half of the body, bang, and they're almost like turning down. Okay? I want you to start to think about the lower part of your body. A good cast starts at your feet and comes up through your body. So I'm using the open stance here. I will fade back onto this right leg, bending the leg, so my weight is here, and as I come forward, I change stance I come forward to the front foot, and then I try to get underneath the rod. From this position here, I'm coming underneath the rod here because I want to send that loop halfway up that tree, 3/4 of the way up that tree. So I need to get underneath that and launch it up. Okay? So back, right foot, forward, back, forward, That's the first thing. Let's consult my notes here. Okay, and the second thing we talked about was tracking. Now I gave you a drill there to cast along a line. In competition casting, you don't do that. The way I fix my tracking was by picking targets. I've got a target behind me, which will be that tree. I've got a target in front, which is actually going to be over that bush, halfway up that tree. So, on my back cast, the first thing I do before I make the stroke is I look at the target. There's my target. I'm then going to fire at the target. Then I check the loop. I just make sure, see how it's set, and because I can't watch that loop unroll, I have to pick my front target. And here, we're in a closed car park. If this was an open field, my targets might be 3 miles away, right in the horizon. It's very difficult to be accurate at close range, but if you pick super long targets, you've got to throw straight. So there's my target, 3/4 of the way up that tree. I'm going to take the rod butt, I'm going to aim towards that target, and right at the end of the stroke, I'm imagining I'm going to hook that rod butt around that target. Okay? Watch this, okay? This is, I'm going to show you how a distance cast, and not a very well practiced distance caster throws. Watch this. Watch my head. Okay? I typically see this. Watching the rod tip, maybe watching the loop. No target. You cannot throw straight. This is what a good distance caster does. Target cast. Target cast. Target cast. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. What else is next? Now I'm going to show you something that's really difficult to do. Okay? This is for the competitor guys here. We talked about delayed rotation. I'm going to show you some grip stuff. Okay? First thing I want to show you there is on the back cast. That back cast grip, I tuck that butt of that rod underneath the forearm. I've got to have my hand on top to make that happen. I'm not casting like this. I'm making the back cast from the rod butt tucked under, and I'm going to make it all the way from the forearm. Okay? Forward cast, I'll show you this. We want delayed rotation. If we keep that rod with a deft grip, we're going to rotate through the stroke. So what I do is relax the grip and put the rod in between these fingers here. So I'm holding it with the thumb and the first finger, and I'm going to turn it over the third finger. So I can actually get to about here before I even start rotating. Whereas if I was holding the rod like this, you can see the angle change. I've sacrificed some of my casting arc. So I'm in there. So, that's good. Rod butt's tucked under, turned over the fingers. Plus we've got, hang on, just consult these notes. Which are getting very wet. Okay, now the last thing here we'll talk about here is when to actually hit this cast, because we are trying to hit this cast as hard as possible to generate maximum line speed. And we talked about hitting it late. We know we've got to hit it through the rotation, but I think we have to hit it even later than that. When I apply the power there. I pass it perpendicular with the rod. When I come forward, I start the rotation and I apply the power there. So it feels to me that I'm applying the power there, and I'm coming forward, and applying the power there. And I'm not trying to apply the power straight, I'm trying to apply the power in a curve. I'm coming from that angle, the rod's been flat, up to 90 degrees, and now I'm rotating all the way down 45 degrees to 0. There, there, there. Okay. So, and let me give you a couple of tips now, just here. If you're in competition, how to think, because a lot of people come to competition and they're good casters and they get to competition and they don't cast well, all falls apart. And I think that's mental, it's in their head. And let me tell you, there is the difference between feeling excited about something and feeling nervous about something is what you think about it. If you have it's the same feeling, it's just I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be really bad, it's going to go there, I'm casting with Steve Rager, I'm casting with Matty, oh no. Or you may be thinking, I'm going to go there and I'm going to beat those bastards. So you've got to think right. And also, the environment can throw you, because all of a sudden you're used to casting in the grass, you've got lots of space, now you've got a tape measure. As soon as you throw down a tape measure, your distance is decreased. So you've got to practice down a tape measure. And the other thing I think it's really important with the competition side to have a lot of fun doing it and not take it too seriously, because we're only doing it for fun, right? I don't extend line on the final back cast. I carry, right, with this line, this is a Scientific Anglers Mastery Expert Distance 5-weight. Head's about 68 feet long, I think, or something like that, 70 odd feet. My optimal carry on this is about 86 to 90 feet. That's line end to my hand, and I've got to be carrying that. I can carry about 95, but then I get the loop loses its integrity. But that's the point. I can carry 95, and I need to carry, let's say, 90. So I don't need to shoot to get there. So because I don't need to shoot to get there, I'm not losing any tension. So I don't think you should shoot line on that final back cast. I think you should learn to carry it.
Matt, what do you feel is the best weight of line and rod to start with, the best combination to start with?
For distance casting?
For distance casting.
I think that can depend on the person. So for instance, if it's a lady and she's slight, you're not going to give her a 9 or 10 weight with a huge rod. I mean, I started with a 5, only because I fish with a 5. And as for lines, these orange lines I like because you can see the loop in the air. You have to be able to see this piece of string. I mean, you don't want to turn up with a green line in this. You know, you just can't see it.
What's good about this particular outfit, what's good about this particular line is everybody around the world casts it, we all know what they're throwing. I mean, here, you know, you're losing 10 feet, so if you're throwing 110 feet with this, you are in the world, in the world class area, you know.
You said, I was coming to you, because you are actually using lighter line with heavier rod. I mean,
yes.
So would you recommend that for a beginner?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
For a beginner, absolutely no way. You want to have. I would start with something like a 6 or 7 weight line on a 6 or 7 weight rod, not too stiff. This, I think most people actually really struggle with. But the better, see, the thing is, the better you become, the stiffer the rod becomes. In Norway, there were guys using 9-weight TCXs to throw the 5-weight line, which is too stiff for me. I don't like that. But that's what they're using. But you throw that in a beginner's hand, forget it, just big wide loops. You can only this line. To be honest, this line only works in competition when you can get about 86 or 88 feet of line outside between the. I measure carry as a length of line between the hauling hand and the end of the fly line, not including the leader. So 86 to 88 feet of line is going to make you competitive. Any less than that, and you're not actually in the running. But this line only starts to work then. That's because you've got the head out with a little bit of running line inside the loop. And so the head isn't back here, but if you've still got the head inside the rings, you're not going to be competitive.
Right. Another question. A lot of saying here that is, we Asian, we are smaller built, we are not that strong and all that, we don't have that kind of arm reach and all that.
Yeah.
Do those help actually in business casting?
No, look, I know people who are shorter than Maddie. No, I know small little people who throw it a long way. So that's not it. It's about line speed. Obviously, I think height's going to make a difference. It's not much. It's all the loop's that higher, much higher above the ground. It gives you a little bit further back on the trajectory. I don't think there's any much significance in there. I know a guy, Ben Dixon, who used to be on the site. Lovely cast, 125 feet, skinny guy, tiny little arms, just very, very smooth, very good timing and fast haul.
What about the advantage that someone may obtain for, if say I was 7 feet, and I'm starting here, my rod tips say right up near the zero, and I can get, right back here, because I'm 7 feet long and tall and long arms, compared to someone like, a bit shorter like me, who can only move the tip from say there to here, in terms of.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that makes much of a difference. I don't think the stroke length really makes a great difference. Maybe. I think the big difference is the height to start with. It allows you, because you're paying your back cast down a little bit, the higher you are, the further back it goes, right? So if I'm this high, the back cast is going to here. If I'm this high, it's going back there. Make a little bit of a difference like that. A lot of competitions are on platforms, right? So it's still not going to make any difference. So I don't think it's that. I think it's about hauling speed. Muscles make a difference. All the 5-weight casters I know lift weights, or most of them, to give them hauling speed and get more control. But everybody can lift weights.
One question. You talk about late rotation. How far is your extension of your line of finish it and then rotate, or 3/4 and rotate?
As late as possible. I tell you what I think I'm doing. In my head, I'm trying to take that rod butt, and I've got an object 3/4 of the way up that tree, or it's usually a tree in the distance, and in my head, I'm taking the butt of that rod and I'm hooking it over that tree. That's how I feel I'm doing it, hooking it all the way over. So I don't know, on a video, close a hand, but it really is out there. I don't know, you just look at a video. The later the better. If you rotate here, I don't get anything like this much difference. I know, because I sometimes go, hit it too early. And that was me turning over too soon. And it's the easiest thing in the world actually to hit it too early, right? It's the biggest mistake. Later is important, and also you don't apply the power until you get there.
Right. The latest possible.
The latest possible. You can't hit it too late.
Okay.
Only too early.
So, Paul, is there such a thing as a stop in what you're doing?
Not in the way that we normally teach it. On the first few back casts, I stop to get a nice loop. I get a nice shape. There's a change in the stroke with the amount of line I've got out. Okay, so I'm going to stop, nice loop, stop, nice loop. Okay. Now I'm going to open it out. Now there may well be a stop there, but it's not where we normally think about stopping to form the loop. Obviously there's a stop because the rod tip didn't hit the ground, but it's not. I'm not trying to squeeze it to a stop. I'm just trying to turn it all the way through that mark. Same with the back.
That's the other thing, Tim, too. When you go in these competitions and you see casters, if you notice Paul's first cast, he's only trying to get the line back 60 feet. So his arc and stroke is only like this. Most people think in a distance comp, mentally, I've got to throw this a long way. So at 60 feet a line, you see this. Big, wide open loops, terrible. And then all they're doing is chasing slack, trying to pull the slack out of the cast with every stroke. So if you watch...
And she did
Paul,
three, I'll do this properly, she did 3 casts, right? Nice loop.
can you see that? It's only
Yep.
this far. Then it's that far. Then it's that far. So for the first pickup and his cast, he's only moving the rod this far because he only has to move 50 feet a line and he only has to get it back there. Sure, he's shooting some, but you don't want to go like this.
You know where to go.
Or how late should you hold?
Sorry?
How late should you hold behind?
After the perpendicular. After the perpendicular. I used to look at the rod, right? Well, on the back cast it's quite easy because the rod butt's tucked under the forearm here and I hold there, okay? So after perpendicular, right? After that point, or even later sometimes, the back cast, so it's there. And on the forward cast, I used to look for the rod coming through. So I go target loop, target, well there's my rod, pull. So there. Yes, the haul may start a little bit earlier, but the explosion happens late. Because when I speeded up my haul, I was suddenly getting tailing loops. That's because the haul was finishing before the rod had unloaded. There.
And when should it finish?
Sorry?
When should the haul finish?
When you run out of arm.
So how does distance casting processing helping your normal fishing?
I'll tell you what it's really done for me, it's given me great speed of delivery. So it's made my shots at snakehead, this time when I go for snakehead I'm going to blitz them all because I can go from here to there very, very quickly. It's given me great line speed. So it's made those quick shots very fast and it's also given me speed to go into the wind. In terms of actual distance casting, obviously you catch, obviously all the big fish are out there, right? But no, for me it's always been about speed of delivery.
I reckon T2, you know, when you're at home practicing, like I live in a little town and our rivers are only small, you know, this wide. And I'm out here practicing my distance casting and all my mates are fishing like, what are you worrying about that for? You don't need to cast that far. But leave Australia, go to somewhere like New Zealand, the wind is absolutely howling. At home, you cast 110 feet. With the wind in New Zealand, I'm back to 40 feet. My mates at home cast 40 feet. Get to New Zealand, they're in the pub, can't fish. It's definitely something.
Matt, many advantages of Steve Rajiv. He reckons you hold the rod right to the well, almost near the reel.
You do the
Like
same
here,
thing?
near the reel.
No, really right in, you know?
Oh, the Team Rajiv grip, you know, for distance. Team Rajiv, right at
Yeah.
the reel.
Look,
I can't get that because if I do that in the back cast, I'm digging this floor under here and that hurts. So I have to be here. But I have tried on that final delivery, going from there and changing it to there.
Or the final delivery.
Yeah. But then you've got a problem because if you're not happy with that delivery and you pull it back, you've then got the rod in the wrong position again.
Do you keep the same position? The holding position? Even if you change the position of your handle? Do you keep the way you hold your grip, is it still the same?
The change of grip?
Yeah.
Yes.
Last time you talked, Paul, you put your finger on the top when you
On
used
the
to
back
change.
cast, yeah, I don't do that anymore. That's it.
noise.
I just make sure that
Because it's
that angle is
going
there.
so fast.
But it's the same thing. You can emphasise it by doing that.